bitch. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. It's Shari, Elisa here, and in today's video we're going to do something a little bit different. I have had this theory in my head for a very long time, and I was waiting till my camera. I am officially recording on my Canon G7X Mark II, and I'm very excited. I even zoomed in a little bit so you can see all of my blemishes. You can see the real me. And today's video, as you can see in the description, I have a theory about Sephora samples, and my theory is you're gonna get the coverage, but is it gonna work to your liking versus having it in the bottle? So if you're interested in finding out what my theory is and seeing me apply it to my skin, then stay tuned. I'm basically going to debunk this idea that I have that if you ever get a sample from Sephora, I have this theory that like the foundation doesn't work the same in a sense, or it's not at its opacity, or it's not at its, I don't know, I feel like with foundations that you get samples of, you don't have the ability to shake it, but you do obviously get a chance to stir it. And I want to know if getting a sample is worth it, and can you really get a full trial and error through a sample. I have here 2 samples of the new Dior Show 5 neutral color. This is my color. It is a little bit red, but I am red in certain areas because it's the summertime and I'm getting tan. So I got 2 samples because I wasn't sure how much coverage I was gonna get, so I am kind of cheating a little bit because I have 2 samples. But the point is that I have a sample and I want to know if it looks good. The tools I'm going to be using is a brand new beauty blender, which has caused a lot of controversy on YouTube right now. And then I'm going to use my favorite Sephora Pro brush, which is the number 56. It's the Pro Flawless Airbrush. I'm going to do 2 sides and then we're just going to jump into it. I've already moisturized. I've already prepped my skin before foundation. To further prove my point about this sample thing, I even have a sample of a little bit of the Rihanna's Fenty what is the Pro Filter primer. So I'm going to be using this, and I have had this sample, which is interesting, of the primer for a while, and I didn't have really a good experience, but I think that the way that I applied it was the reason why I didn't have that good experience. It was a very long time ago, so this sample is kind of old. Whenever you go to Sephora, there isn't like a, hey, you should use this sample within a certain amount of time, because I think they assume at the Sephora store that you're going to use it within like the next 48 hours, I would say. So it's interesting how this foundation is going to come up. I moisturized my skin with this hydration gel from Drunk Elephant, and I believed I used my water cream, which you guys know that I rant and rave about all the fucking time. Like, I'm honestly getting so annoying, but hey, this shit works. On my forehead, let's use the forehead, and then the cheeks. And when I put it on my cheeks, I notice that it's very red. So there is a difference in color, but the thing is 4.5 is like too yellow. Okay, that did nothing for my chin. Absolutely nothing. So maybe we should put like a little bit more. It said it's ultra buildable, so I feel like this is one of those things that, like, you know, some foundations, like for example with NARS or like what's her name, Estee Lauder, you can do one pump and sort of get like build some coverage and like go from there. This is probably one of those that like you have to like keep taking a pump, but it's in the squeezy bottle. So for first impressions, it smells really good, so I am assuming that it has some fragrance in it. I have a mirror here that has a zoomed in one, and I wanted to zoom in because I wanted to see like closer to my skin. It's definitely more red, and in the package, well, not the package, in the sample, it does look like a good brown, so it's like my overtone of my skin. I do like how the brush is applying the foundation. It's really nice, but the fragrance is a little strong, just a little strong. And I wonder sometimes when companies put fragrance in their foundations, does it make you break out? Because like that was my problem with Huda's. I don't like that it has such a strong fragrance in it. I don't mind rose hip in it, but I think putting rose, like at the first like 5 ingredients, that might irritate a customer's skin. So far it looks good. I can't really say pumps per se because you know it's in a little tiny jar. I did have to use a lot, so I want to say that that's equal to like 2 pumps. You can like keep blending. I want this to match my neck, so I'm bringing it down. A trusty dusty damp beauty sponge beauty blender and go in. Obviously a beauty blender is going to build coverage faster. I think the brush builds coverage better than the sponge does, but the sponge actually didn't absorb too much product, which I like. So depending on what kind of makeup user you are or which tools you use, you may be able to use both, but it depends on like what kind of coverage you are. If you know me, then you know I'm a full coverage bitch. I want to feel lightweight, and I want it, the smell is really prominent, if we'll say. And I don't know if it's just the primer, but I like how my skin is looking. It could be the primer. I used to think primer was a hoax. So off of first impression, I'll zoom in a little bit. Oh, that was a weird face. I'm not crazy about the beauty blender side. Because we're here and because I want to see how full coverage it can get, or how old, I don't want to say full coverage because the real word that they use on the website is ultra buildable. I'm just going to dip this brush literally into whatever's left because I actually used most of this container. All right, as you can see, that's definitely building more. Brush will definitely help you build coverage. Okay, and then if you go in a little too ham with cream, you know, you can always take a sponge and lay in the load. All right. I like the way it feels on my skin, and I like the way that it is on my skin. It doesn't feel like it's sitting. It doesn't feel cakey. It doesn't feel heavy. I can see probably why women think that this is, or not that they feel that it is perfect for like climate. There's a certain kind of climate. This is one of those foundations that if I really wanted to make it work, I would have to get obviously the most perfect concealer to help me. Upon second application, I'm getting the coverage that I would want out of a foundation. I'm gonna finish the rest of my makeup and I will be back to give you guys a final review because your girl is feeling super glamorous. Glamorous. So my final thoughts on the Dior Show foundation and the sample. I want to say that I really like how I looked. I set it with the Smashbox Primer Water, which you guys know is one of my favorites. I use that almost all the time to apply eyeshadow, to set my makeup. It looks really good, and I do see the skin-like finish. It does look, I'm not crazy about the color. I wish that it was just like a little bit lighter and more towards like this, because my neck is a little bit off and I can see even on camera and in person the difference. But aside from that, I like to stay objective as possible when it comes to foundation, because it might be that I would have to mix a little bit of 4.5, like a little more 4.5 and then like a drop of 5 to get the color. I know that sucks, but realistically we all have different skin tones, and I will say that it is hard to help everybody, and that's why we have contour, we have bronzing, and we have concealing for those matters. I know it's expensive to try to buy both. I probably won't buy this foundation only because I have so many other foundations right now. It's not something that I feel like I need to go out and buy. just because of the color situation. I would hate to feel like, you know, when wintertime comes, am I a little too dark if I bought 5, and then 4.5 am I a little bit too light and I'm looking super mixed match. So I do have foundations that do match me, so I won't be purchasing that. But I will say that I think that it's a good idea to get a sample. My biggest thing about getting a sample from Sephora, and I want to say that this is like the overall video just in general, I'm glad that I got 2 because I used up 1. And I always thought that when you get a sample from Sephora, that when you get one thing that you can use it. For me, it's like a sample obviously is for one-time use, but it's nice when you get just like a little bit more product so that you can get 2 uses out of it, because you should be able to use it with different primers. And I feel like you should choose like your favorite go-to primer that works every single time no matter what foundation, and you should try it with something completely different. And that is the best way to see if you are willing to spend your money on it. I'm not a fan of just going out and just buying it and just be like, all right, I'll return it, because it's honestly time consuming. So it's nice when you do have a sample, but the foundation is nice. My only upset is that even though I set my face still feels a little tacky, and it didn't fully absorb into, like, I have the skin like finish as you can see on camera, and I can zoom in a little bit more. So it looks really good. I've had it on at this point for at least an hour. My biggest thing is that it doesn't match. Like, I have a mask on and you can see that, and I see it on camera, and I definitely see it in person. So those are my takeaways. Those are my pros. I mean my cons. My cons is that it doesn't match, and my second con is that it's still tacky. And even though I've used powder, I've used like setting spray, it's still not to my liking. And my thoughts is that it is a nice foundation. It looks really nice on the skin, aside from like the color. My biggest takeaway is that I have the second skin finish. It is buildable. If you're deciding between a brush and a sponge, I would say apply with a brush, build it up, and then if you need to shear it out because it may have put on too much product, I would say take a beauty sponge and sort of lightened up or shear out the areas where you may have applied a little bit too much foundation. So that is my final thoughts, you guys. Thank you so much for watching my channel. I really appreciate you guys. I hope this video comes out good. It's interesting because I never thought I would get here, and I'm so happy that I am here, and I'm so thankful for you guys joining me on this ride. Please don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell so that it can tell you when I am uploading, and sound off in the comments if you like this foundation on me, any thoughts if you've tried it. And also don't forget that I have a video to the left of me and the subscribe button at the end of the screen. So I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Until then, see ya.